Hey, it's Mike Brennan, and yeah, we're doing another one of our MITechTV shows, and I have with me my partner in crime, Matt Roush. Say hi,
Howdy,
Matt.
howdy.
Yeah. He, he can be taught. Okay, I'm kidding. So anyway, we have with us a couple of guests. We have a regular, Melih Oztalay, the CEO of SmartFinds Marketing, and Ken, is it Chow?
Cheo,
Cheo.
yes.
Ken Cheo, who's the president of our sales coach. And together, these two are going to be doing a show session, as it were, that's going to be on November 5th. I assume this is what you're going to do this over a webcast or Zoom or some format like that. Is that right, Millie?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to kind of start off what the impetus is of all this. First of all, I met Ken a few months back, and it was kind of funny because the, both of our businesses, he's in sales coaching, I'm in marketing, have the same target audience when it comes to manufacturers. And you guys know Michigan's full of manufacturers. The other side of the interesting thing is that everything we do on the marketing side is about driving the leads to a client. And Ken's side of the equation is how do we take those leads and actually close them? What do you
Right.
think, Ken?
Yeah, that's right. And that's why we're really doing this webinar. We find well, actually, really back in the beginning of the decade, I was doing a lot of interesting work with software companies, and we find that they always have channel partners, which are pretty effective, and then they have marketing. I mean, that's usually the first big hire that they make is a chief marketing officer, and they're driving leads. But if they're really after enterprise type opportunities, a lot of times they're catching leads and they're closing business in a remote area, part of a business that if they were more strategic in how they're interacting with their marketing people and their channel partners and their BDRs, they then start catching more senior level people at a much higher part of the organization. And so their first sale within those companies is 10 times what it normally has been. And it's easier for them to branch off across that organization. So,
And you
that's
and you bring up an interesting point in terms of getting up to higher levels. I mean, the webinar that we're putting together is designed for CEOs actually, because as we go into 2026, the infrastructure of how we do business was going to continue to change. You have the technology impacting all of this. I mean, you got AI at a variety of levels, right? Chatbots when it comes to your website and how they interact with website visitors. You have to, the CEO has to be the one to drive the direction of the company as we hit 2026 and understand that just basic lead generation is just not going to do the trick anymore. There's a lot of factors involved by time in terms of driving the people to the website, getting them to become a lead, and then for Ken's team to aid in the process of closing those sales. And let's increase the number of leads that we close, right, Ken?
Yeah, exactly. And at that level, at the executive level, they're also really uh, responsible for the strategy. And a lot of times things aren't they're not really taking enough time to plan strategically enough so that they can direct the pieces, the silos, as you call them, Amila, is like the uh, the channel partners and setting expectations for them, and the BDRs and the sales executives and the marketing people, so that they are actually catching the right type of customers instead of getting bogged down in lower value opportunities.
Right.
And
Exactly.
yeah,
They aren't going to go
exactly.
anywhere. I mean, Mike,
Yeah.
Matt, did you guys have any thoughts on our approach to this?
Well, I was interested when you said that companies need a measurable, repeatable sales process, and if it's not measurable, it's essentially not going to help you much. How do you create one of those, and what is it exactly that you're measuring?
Well, there's measurements both on the marketing and the sales side, and it really boggles my mind that there is no CRM that's set up to give you the metrics that you really need. And you know, companies need to understand that sales performance is measured in ratios. So
Hmm.
why is it that you can't automatically get your close rate? You know, and so typically when I get involved with a client, they're not really getting the data in a format that is the most optimal for me to help them, and they know if they made sales, obviously, and they know if they did a proposal, but putting those two together, now they have to take it outside of the CRM. What is your proposal close rate? How many meetings is it taking for you to close a deal? And what's the contact? What's the rate at which new opportunities are being put into the system, and where are those leads coming from, and what's the lead conversion ratio? So again, it's all done in ratios.
It's so
And
fun. It's so funny that with all the metrics that we have available to us, all that data, just one simple ratio
it's
isn't
a, yeah,
isn't a, is missing in a CRM. But you're right, there isn't a single CRM out there that's monitoring the close rate of the proposals that go out. On my end, I can tell you it's a little bit easier. We have what's called conversion rate optimization, right? So what we're doing is we're taking the website, we're making it more effective so that the existing traffic coming to it, we can turn around and um, get them to become leads. And we have a variety of tools that we use, including AI, A/B testing, heat maps. I don't know, take your pick. But in unlike this close ratio issue, I can measure the fact that we started off, the client was only getting 10 leads a month, and now they're getting 30, because usually in about a 4 month period, we can increase that by 200%. The process is repeatable, as Matt liked that scenario, and in the CRO system, it is repeatable, and you can increase the number of leads that you get. But then I can't tell you how many times. As a matter of fact, I've got a case study where we had a year over year 198% increase in leads for a client, and they kept on complaining that they're not getting leads. As it turns out, the sales team was cherry picking the leads.
hmm. Well, they
You got to be
should.
kidding me.
They should. We don't want to waste our time, right?
I know, but it was so funny that they're complaining on one hand, but then they're cherry picking, and we found maybe another 50, well, 30% more that they could have gone after. They were the right size clients. They just didn't want to put the effort into it, or they
Yeah,
didn't know how to approach it, which is where you come
right.
into the process, Ken. I think that's the important part.
Let me ask
There's
a quick question. So, what is a good close rate? Essentially, that's kind of your batting average. In the major leagues, if you bat 350, you're doing wonderful. But what would be a good close rate on all these leads that you have?
Well, you can't really. It's not a universal question. Okay, it really depends on your business, and it really depends on the sales environment. Depends on how many what the value of the things you're selling are, and the sales cycle. So, but we find that again, I'm going back to software. Software companies can be generating a lot of interest. People who are, going to the website, they're requesting a demonstration. Some of them actually, I was with a CEO last week where they built a business from a startup to over 35,000 customers, and they all bought by themselves. And I'm trying to remember what their close rates, unusually high. And but if you have a system that there's not a lot of competition and it's easy for somebody to buy and they're looking for a particular reason, you can have a close rates up in the 60-70%, or at least 40% without you even touching them. But when you're trying to do an enterprise level sale, you must talk to the customer, and those leads go cold really fast. So it's also not uncommon. Then you've got a lot of leads coming in. They're not as proactive in trying to get conversations with these leads, these prospects, and so they're sending out proposals without any contact, and the close rates could be below 20%, below 15% even. So that is when that's happening, there's a huge opportunity. I mean, I would say even when you're generating a lot of cold inbound, if you're below 25%, you should be. There's a lot of wasted time.
So tell me a little bit. I was fascinated when you mentioned earlier how AI can help you identify who's ready to buy. How does it do that? And tell us a little bit about CRO too.
Well,
Yeah.
let me start off with the CRO piece. So the idea is, if we put the right tools into a website, then we're able to track and create what's called a journey funnel per customer or per website visitor. And what's happening in this case is, as the AI turns around and tracks that journey funnel, in the beginning of that, at the top of the funnel, for that person, the AI is saying, you know what, here's a video you can watch, here's something you can download. But as the AI determines that the person is becoming more interested along the way, more time on the website, more pages that they visited, targeted pages that they go to and stay longer on, et cetera, by the time you get down towards the bottom of the funnel, the AI gets a little bit more aggressive, and it's more like, you need to start talking to us. Here's the 2x4. Hit you upside the head and put up a form and turn around and reach out to us, type of a thing. But that's the concept on the CRO, is you're using A/B testing on pages. You got the AI on one side, you're looking at heat maps, you're looking at SEO, you're looking at the traffic that's coming in. Is it quality traffic to begin with, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot going on, and we're going to be talking about all these different things at the CEO strategy session that we're calling this.
Yeah, and the software is getting smarter actually to take a look and do some research on the prospective customers too, so that you can actually delineate whether this is more of an ideal prospect based on what is out on the World Wide Web regarding these corporations. So, how big is the company? What do they actually sell, or how many employees do they have? So that you can, determine, prioritize, let's say, the follow-up on the leads, and determine, this looks like really more like an ideal client, or where are these people located, and you can allocate them to the right salespeople, or what they're interested in as your marketing data comes in. You can maybe allocate the lead to, if it's a technical sale, to the right person who has the expertise that is related to what they've been reading and researching on your website, or on the material you're sending them.
Cool. And with that in mind, the CEO strategy session, you can register for it at oursalescoach.com. Ken, I believe there's a link
/webinars.
right there on the website /webinars. There we go. And we'll have that on the YouTube channel. We'll have it on the upcoming press release and a couple of blog articles that we have going out. And we really hope that everybody's going to come join and listen in to see what they can do to improve their lead gen as well as their close rate.
Great.